Hi all, if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about talking about new makeup, trying new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoyed today's video, hitting the like button. Today is the second video in my Pat McGrath series. I'm calling it Pat McGrath Date Night, where I'm going to go through the motherships that I own. I own 8 of the 10. I don't own the last 2. That may change, but as of now, I do not own the last 2. So I'm going to go from motherships 1 through 8. And I'm thinking I might throw in the holiday palette from 2021. Let me know if you want to see me do some, some day to night looks with that palette. Let me know in the comments down below. But today we are going to be using the second mothership in her collection, which is Mothership 2 Sublime. And this one is one of the ones that came to me later, and I haven't used it as much as my other ones, but I still think it's a beautiful, beautiful color story. This is what it looks like, and of course it's known for that insanely gorgeous green metallic special shade. So we will be incorporating that, of course. I will probably be incorporating that in the the night look. The day look, we're gonna be sticking with this section here. So my face is already done. I'm wearing the Paradise Glow blush, a little bit of the Venus Nectar highlighter, and yeah, let's get into it. Zoom you guys. And if you hear a humming sound, I'm just going to preface this. I try to always preface my videos if you guys hear noises, but it is in the 90s today, and it's only 8:42 in the morning, and it is already in the, let me see, what's the temp? It is already 80 plus degrees. So I have my air on. I have it on low, but I needed something because I'm sitting under these hot lights, and it's a lot, guys. It's a lot, and I was sweating. I'm like powdering my face even before I get started filming. So if you hear a hum, I apologize, but your girl needs air. Your girl needs air. It is hot. All right, so like I said, I'm going to start off with these sort of more muted or toned down shades that are on the left hand side of the palette. And I was deciding, I want to say yesterday when I was looking at this palette and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I'm going to go in mostly with these metallics because I want to show you guys how you can use them as satins. So instead of going in with this brown shade right away, because that is the lightest, even though it's quite dark, that is the lightest matte shade in this palette, I'm gonna go in with the metallic color called Iconic, which is this one right here. And so let me see if I can zoom you guys in even more. I think that's as close as we're gonna get. Let me do that. All right, so I'm gonna apply this exactly the way I would apply any other like matte shade in my crease. So I'm using a fluffy brush. This is the Sonia G Crease Pro. So I would suggest when you're trying to use metallics in the same way that you would use a matte, or trying to use a satin in the same way you would use a matte, is to use a fluffy brush, because what it'll do is just diffuse the shade, and it'll have a nice sheen, but it won't be heavy on the eye. So as you can see, this is very, very soft. It has some sheen to it, but it's not in your face. And I do this a lot, especially with her palette, the Decadence palette, which of course is going to come up in the series. And I'm going to show you guys how you can do a full look with that palette, because you can absolutely do a full look with that palette. Okay, so I've laid down my crease shade, which is Iconic, and now I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. I'm going to take this Rougher 14 brush. It's the same size. You can see it's the same size. It's just a little bit skinnier. I don't know if you guys can tell that it's a little bit skinnier. Just a little. And we're going to go into this shade Dark, which is the brown. And I'm lightly tapping is. I will say with this palette, one thing that I have noticed is that I feel like these shades are a little more firmly pressed. The mattes and the metallics are a little more firmly pressed than in some of her other palettes, and that could be this one. Like I said, I got this one a little bit later, and so I feel like this one was, it's more of a newly manufactured Sublime, and it feels a little bit more firmly pressed, a little bit finer in the pan than some of her other shades, or palettes rather. So as you can see, I'm just lightly, I'm not putting a lot. And this look is going to be a little bit more intense than the look that I did with Subliminal. And that's honestly just because it's a warmer toned palette, and warmer tones on my skin will look more intense. They just will. So now that that's done, and you can see it's super soft, but it's giving the eye some definition. Now that that's done, I'm going to go in with, I think I want to use this soft shader brush because it'll give me a nice soft application. And I'm going to go into, and this is copper toned, and I'm going to apply that all along my crease here. Or excuse me, yeah, well, yeah, my lid into my crease. And do you see how pretty that is? But it's really soft. Now, if you want to make this more intense, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. If you want to make this copper tone shade more intense, you just honestly have to apply it with a wet brush. That's literally all you have to do. So I'm going to tap my brush back into this, and then I'm going to spray it. And do you see how much more intense and wet that looks? I mean, it is wet, but do you see how much more intense that looks now that I've wet my brush? So you can get that if you still want that for a daytime. I personally would wear this during the day, but if you want the soft look that I did before I sprayed the brush, go in with a dry shader brush. That's the best way to get that soft, diffused look with metallics, is to go in with a slightly fluffier brush, dry. All right, I'm going to do the lower part of my lash line now, and I'm going to go in with Iconic again. This brush is picking up so much products. You're being too intense here. Hold on. Okay. And I'm taking that all the way around my lower lash line. I'm being very soft about it though, but it's just giving that, as you can see, it's just giving really soft definition. It still has that metallic to it, that metallic tone to it. So it gives a really nice soft shimmer. I'm not wetting my brush at all for that. Then I'm going to dip into dark with using the same brush. And I'm going to take that in my outer corner, just to marry my outer corners, lower and upper outer corners. And I just did a little tiny bit of that. Now I'm going to take that exact same brush and I'm going to go into Skin Show Glow. I'm going to go in dry. I'm not wetting my brush. And I'm just going to tap that in my outer corner really softly. Like so. I'm going to apply mascara to this eye, and I will be right back to show you guys the finished eye. Okay, I am back and I have applied my mascara. And one thing that I will say, that if you want to give yourself sort of like a line or liner on your lid, on your lash line, I would say take a, let me see, line in here. Take a soft, like take an angled brush, and you can dip into dark lightly, and then just go along the lash line really lightly to add definition. And I would say stick to the outer part if you don't want it to be too intense. But that's one way to intensify your lash line without having to use liner. So this is the finished eye for day. I mean, I guess you could say this is still kind of dramatic. For me, this is a really soft, pretty, sparkly eye, day daytime eye. And again, I don't necessarily subscribe to day to night eye looks, eyewear, whatever, but I know that's not necessarily possible for everyone. So I think if you wanted a really soft but a little bit more turned up day eye look, this is a really good option. Let's get into night time. All right, guys, so this one is going to be a bit more simple, actually. It's going to be intense, though. I'm a little afraid. I have an idea, and I'm scared, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. So, I'm going to take, what did I do with that brush? What did I do with it? I'm going to take this brush and my Rephr 14 again, and I'm going to use the Rephr 14, and I'm going to dip into dark. I'm going straight into dark. And what we're doing is we are applying that. We're not going in the crease. We're applying that straight to the outer corner of the eye. Very softly, but still just kind of trying to add a little definition there. Just like so. And that's not super blended, but that's okay. You guys are going to kind of see what I'm going for in a moment. All right. Now I'm going to go in with an even smaller brush. All right. Now I'm going in with an even smaller brush. So this is the Rephr 13. And this brush I love. If you have hooded eyes, small eyes, and you're looking for something that is small that can get right into that outer corner and create definition without blowing eyeshadow everywhere, this is the one. I lightly dipped into extreme black. And do you see how much applied to my eye just from that tiny little tap? Do you see that? With black, always start small and go slow, my friends. Start small and go slow. It is for your own good. It is for your own good. I still get nervous when I use black, I'm not gonna lie. I've come to really enjoy black, and I've come to really sort of appreciate its place in a palette. I don't think every palette needs a black. Some people do. I do not. I'm not of that mindset. I feel like as long as you have a deepening shade of any shade, it doesn't need to be black per se, you know? So I'm slowly building this up. I'm tapping. I'm not doing the whole windshield wiper thing because that would just move black eyeshadow all over my lid. That's not what we're going for here. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go back in with my 14 in dark. And what you're seeing me doing here is I'm slowly building up the depth here, but I'm doing it slowly so that I can have control over where these shades go. Because of the vibe that I'm going for, that's going to be very important. So, like I said, this look is simple. It's only going to have, well, it may have 4 shades in it, depending on what I decide to put on my inner corner. But the lid aspect is just going to be 3 shades. And it's really all going to depend on patience and placement. So, okay, so that's the base for this look. I may want to wing this out more. I'm going to stay conservative with it though until after I place my lid shade. And we all know what that lid shade is going to be. Come on, guys. Really? Did you think I was not going to use Blitz Emerald? Come on. So I am taking Blitz Emerald. I am wetting Blitz Emerald. Key, my friends, key. Wet Blitz Emerald. I'm going in, I'm going in, I'm going in. And I'm taking it further out than I normally would. Usually I stop about right here with my shimmers. I'm taking it all the way out here this time. And again, I'm doing that faux crease, cut crease. let me just tell you guys, if you want to be dramatic, but you or don't want to spend all that time doing a cut crease, just do this. It's so easy. It's so easy, and it looks just as beautiful in my opinion. In my opinion, you know, someone may feel differently. We're gonna dip back into extreme black, tippity tap. We're gonna take extreme black. We're gonna do that just to blend, like so. Then I'm gonna take my brush again with dark, tippity tap. Did I get anything on my brush? Yes, I did. Okay. And I'm lightly applying that just above the green. Lightly. And then again, going back into extreme black. And this is the point when I say building up with black. This is what I mean, is that it is a lot of back and forth. I'm just gonna take a little bit of Glitz Emerald because I have a spot that I missed. It's just about being patient and going back and forth. So now I'm gonna do the lower lash line. Now the lower lash line, I am going to go into, I'm going to use this brush now. I'm going to use a smaller one just to control it a little bit more. I'm going to use this little Kyoto brush. I'm going into dark. And I'm starting, I usually start this way, but I'm starting on the outer this time just so I can get that exactly how I want it. And again, I'm going slowly so as not to overwhelm myself with pigment, you know? You don't want to do that when you're dealing with super dark shades. Okay, so this is how much I am putting on my lower lash line of dark. Now, I want to take, I'm thinking, I'm gonna take Bronze 00. We're doing a day to night look, people, and night has, I figured, like, if I'm gonna do night, I gotta go ham, you know? So my brush is still wet, so I can build that up as much as I want. Got a little fall out there, but we'll make it work. There we go. And then I'm going to go into, I think, is it going to be VR Nectar? Yeah, let's do VR Nectar for my inner corner. All right, let me go put some mascara on this eye and I will be right back. All right, gang, I am back. I have applied mascara. I also applied some lipstick. I just did my Old Faithful, my Penny Beige with my BFF3 liner, and these are the finished looks. What do you think? I love them both and I would wear them both, but this palette, first of all, green is my favorite color, so I'm partial to this side because I just love green. As you can see from my earrings, I wear these just, I was like, I'm gonna do a green look, I gotta wear my green hoops. I love those earrings. Anyway, so in conclusion, as you can see, you can do, even though, you know, a lot of palettes don't have a lot of mattes to work with, and I think that is really off-putting to a lot of people, is they don't feel like they can do a whole lot with a palette that only has 2 dark mattes in it and then some soft metallics and then these really intense special shades. They feel like the looks can be quite limited and it's intimidating to them. But Pat's formulas, or formula, her metallic formula and her satin formula to a certain extent, are the formulas that taught me that you can use those shades as mattes if they are of a good quality. If you have, you know, if you have a nice, like I said, if you're using something like this, you're not gonna get that if you're using a brush that packs on this is a shader. So this is for like packing on the lid. You're not going to get that type of sheared out look like I have here with this, but you can get it with this. So if you have a really good, you know, crease brush or a decent crease brush, it doesn't even have to be a great crease brush, just a crease brush, you can, her shadows are malleable, her shadows are versatile, her formulas are versatile, and you can use those metallics in the place of which you would use as a matte. And as you can see, this look is really pretty, and it gives, you know, it gives the same vibe if I had used a matte shade. It's just, to me, I actually like it a little bit more because the whole eye just looks really lit up. You know, it looks really bright. Using shadows that have the ability to reflect the light, not in a super metallic-y way necessarily like this one, but in a soft, almost candlelight way. In a soft, very sort of almost like candlelight way, it actually is very beautiful and very alluring, in my opinion, on the eye. Like when I do a look that has no mattes in it, but it still gives that soft vibe, the light hitting your eye, it can be really, really gorgeous. So again, if you have this palette, or if you've been eyeing this palette and you're afraid because of the fact that there are only 2 mattes and they're both dark, I hope that this helped you and it kind of gave you some ideas. And it just kind of put you at ease a little bit that this is still a very usable palette regardless of the fact that there's only 2 dark mattes. On this side, I hope the takeaway that you guys have is that don't be afraid to use black. Don't be afraid. It can be scary. Like I said, black still intimidates me to a certain extent, but once I learned the rules of using black, which is to go in with a little, build up, go slow. And be precise in your placement. Black is not the shade, like your crease shade where you're just like, no. You want to tap, 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 apply, and then if you need to blend it out a little bit, soft, slow motions to do so, in short motions, not sweeping motions, not swirly. We're not doing that with black. Don't do it. I mean, unless you're literally trying to apply black all over your lid, which I've done, that's fine then. If that's the point, is to get the black all over the lid. But if you're really just using it for placement purposes to intensify a specific part of the eye, you want to be as delicate and as precise as you possibly can. And using a smaller brush helps. So like I said, we don't use this kind of brush for that. We use a small brush for that. And we deep, 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 boop, boop, boop. Remember, deep, 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 boop, boop, boop. Those are the code words for using black shadow. Deep, 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 boop, boop, boop. That's what you want to do. And I hope that this was inspiring to you guys in some way. And even if you don't have this palette, I hope, you know, if you have similar shadows in your collection or palettes that have maybe some shades that are similar that were a bit intimidating to you, that this kind of gave you some ideas. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, if you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button as well. And Subversive is up next, guys. Number 3, Mothership 3 Subversive is next. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.